Welcome back to another edition of Just an Opinion. Today I am again joined by Flobo, the paragon of insight, and we're going to talk about wrestling movies. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. So glad to be here. I love wrestling.
I appreciate that. Now, a lot of people that get involved in professional wrestling go on to do acting, and they establish their own brand. John Cena, The Rock. However, there's actually not too many movies about the wrestling industry. And so we're just going to talk about a couple of them, and they really come at different angles, so I think we have a good, diverse selection coming up. I'm excited.
Yeah, we were both wrestling fans for a long time. I remember growing up watching Superstars or Wrestling Challenge with people like Razor Ramon, Tatanka, and my all-time favorite, Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Well, I came into wrestling a little bit earlier, and I have some really good memories of my dad taking me to the Hershey Park Arena. And this is a replica of one of the first wrestling shirts I got, and I felt like the coolest kid in school walking in with my Rockers t-shirt, because wrestling was really cool at the time. And as an anecdotal note, it was actually our mutual love of wrestling that kind of pushed our friendship to where it is right now. We met at a party. I was standing by a trash can all by myself, and this guy walks over to me, but...
Yeah, it's true. It turns out that we both like WWE SmackDown. He saw the fact I had the show on my Facebook wall, which proves we're old.
Yeah. Alright, so the first movie we're going to talk about is...
Suburban Commando. What?
The first movie we're going to talk about
is...
It's
Three Ninjas. What?
The first movie we're going to talk about...
It's Thunder in Paradise.
I'm going to take your coffee away in a second.
Fine.
The first movie we're going to talk about is No Holds Barred. The year is 1989. Wrestling is on fire. And at the top of that industry is none other than Hulk Hogan. So why not try to make him an action star?
Mr. Rock and Wrestling himself, Mr. WrestleMania himself, it makes perfect sense. He had the size, he had the speed, people knew who he was. It was a done deal. Why not make him an action star, Ralph?
Exactly. I mean, the whole point of pretty much all of these movies that we're going to be talking about is to bring in new audiences. Hulk Hogan is playing Rip, and it feels very authentic WWF. They're not trying to take any of that out of the story. I mean, the very first scene involves him in a wrestling match. You hear Jesse the Body Ventura and Mean Gene Okerlund on commentary. He is the WWF champion, so it really feels very authentic as far as a wrestling byproduct.
I don't know, Rob. As much as the movie is fine for its time, it felt like there was two movies in one. There was Rip versus Zeus. There's also this whole network storyline that kind of got mashed into it. I wasn't a big fan of this one.
In essence, I feel like this was trying to be a Rocky movie. With you have your celebrated hero, but he's facing the challenge that he just might not be able to overcome. They definitely made the fight much more cinematic, and it really became a fight for your life, hence the term No Holds Barred. But in the end, it wasn't enough that Hulk Hogan gets the 1, 2, 3, but he actually kills Zeus.
If Zeus was dead, how come he showed up in WWF programming? Explain that one, Ralph.
I can't. It's not the best movie, but I think that a lot of wrestling fans, it's almost like necessary viewing just to see Hulk Hogan in a different light. I mean, we all know that he went on to do multiple movie and television roles.
Yeah, completely imperfect. It really was the first modern wrestling movie, and a lot of movies after that have a lot to owe to that one, so it definitely is required viewing.
Up next, we're going to talk about Ready to Rumble. The year is 2000, and wrestling is on fire. Except this time, we've got two competing companies all vying for that #1 spot. So WCW put in one last-ditch effort to try to win the Monday Night War.
Yeah, the year 2000 was filled with disappointments. There were no flying cars, man, no alien saucers, but we got a movie featuring WCW with Oliver Platt.
What's the deal, Elvis? You ain't gonna get here on time with the rest of us?
Traffic, baby, little traffic.
Come on, come on.
The era of kayfabe is over. They're not pretending that wrestling is real anymore.
Wrestling's not fake!
However, there's a lot of real things that happen behind the scenes. And that's kind of the plot line with this, where you have your top star who is screwed by his opponent and by the owner of the company.
Why? Why not? You're through. I'm done with you.
It was kind of a weird position the WWE to be in because wrestling has always been, or historically been, family entertainment. The late 90s and 2000s had more of a teenage edge, so this movie had to serve a lot of masters when it was written. It had to appeal to teenagers that saw their cool wrestlers in cool situations, but it had to be family-friendly enough to be a bankable movie. And so what we got was a mismatch.
People think I'm sexy. I think you're sexy. I mean, Gene, really, I do.
They lay it on very thick in the beginning that this is very much a byproduct of WCW wrestling. But then, as far as the plot line unfolds, it really fits into the cliches of someone who had fame and fortune in sports or whatever industry, but they've lost that passion, they've been betrayed by the job that they used to love, but then he finds inspiration along the way by two idiots.
Yeah, let go!
Show some of that old king!
Let go, or
what? Or what? Or what?
or I will rule you!
They could have cast any one of these wrestlers as the main character, but they went with Oliver Platt. I mean, Oliver Platt, why? He's a good actor, but there's nothing about him that says he's a wrestler.
That's Juventud Guerrera! Juventud! Just drop kick the ladder! But who's that other masked wrestler?
And it was so frustrating because as a fan of wrestling, I would love to see a superstar in that spot, but Hollywood always wins.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it made sense that the two idiots that are inspiring him, they're played by actors. We have Scott Conn and David Arquette.
I love you. Me too, man. Hit me, my turn! Oh.
By the end, I feel like it just turned into a collection of gags.
Lady. Sasha.
Shut up, Sean.
Sasha, you should stand so close to the ring when there's a ladder match going on. Hey!
You idiot. That stuff doesn't work. What the?
Look, Diamond upside down is a pussy.
One of the coolest things, or ironic things, is at the time when David Arquette was in the movie, we all said, oh my gosh, this guy is so bad, and he became eventually WCW champion, but then this guy learns to wrestle. So, like, should this movie be like an inspirational movie too? Like, I'm all confused when it comes to this one.
So nearly 20 years later, we get Fighting with My Family. And instead of being a completely fictional story with the wrestling industry, we get a biographical tale about the woman wrestler Paige.
Yeah, the legend goes it was actually a documentary of the same name, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock himself, saw it in a hotel room and called up Paige and made it a movie. And, well, I actually like this one.
You should come tonight. It'll be really fun.
We don't like wrestling.
How do you know if you've never been?
I've never had rectal bleeding before, but I'm pretty sure I'm not a fan of that.
How about I shove her head up your ass and then we can find out?
At first, it is a very original tale. Very funny. We love wrestling for a reason. And it was kind of cool to see this offbeat wrestling family with their crazy antics.
What the bloody hell do you think you're doing? You really want to choke her out? In a lot of fingers?
Yeah.
Now pull it tight. Oh, yeah. Now she's in trouble. You feel it? You feel
What
it?
is going on?
He's choking me.
What are you going to do about it?
Oh!
My girl?
Hey, Soraya.
Sorry, what is the WWE?
What?
You had the two kids, the shining stars, that were just waiting for their dream shot to try out for WWE. And it kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit for non-wrestling fans, showing them that it's really difficult to get a shot like this, and how the whole NXT brand works with getting to the main roster.
Oh, Jesus!
What happened?
She slapped her. Like a for real slap. No, it was a receipt. Looked like a slap. It's called a receipt. You botch a move, you get a receipt.
I'd apologize.
For what? Receipts are important. It teaches you not to make the same mistake twice.
But then it shifts. Paige's story then kind of fits into many existing cliches of sports movies or a person leaving home. They feel out of their element. They're not really getting along with the other people, and they want to give up. But then you get that everything is getting better montage, and then it just falls into place.
You get up every morning from your alarm clocks, warning, take the 8:15 into the city. There's a whistle up above and people pushing, people shoving, and the girl.
I see what you're saying, Ralph, and there's a lot of cliches there, can't deny that. But wrestling films up until that point weren't the most positive. So here's a chance for WWE to do something in their image, in their likelihood, and of course you're going to make sure that you get the story, you share it with your friends, reinvent the wheel, forget all that stuff, just make sure everyone understands what's going on, and that's what happened there in this film.
Never hotter talking to two rejects from Harry Potter. So that's how you win over the crowd. Yeah. Even though this crazy wrestling world is a fictionalized world, the fans know 1,000% if you're not being real, right? That guy just now, that was The Rock. The Rock is me.
This movie was cast perfectly with Florence Pugh playing the lead.
I agree. And Nick Frost, man, put on the beard, looking all mannish. I was impressed by his performance as well.
Listen, Glenn wants to know if you will take one of these in the face.
I don't know. What's it like?
But at the end of the day, if someone wants a fictional movie about wrestling, I'd be the one I would recommend first. Fighter by Family hits all the targets and marks. It's not going to blow you away. It's fun.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.
If she can eat it, you don't eat a hot dog. Here. No, I don't. Do you know what's in a hot dog?
Next up, we have the main event. A kid discovers a lucha libre mask that gives him amazing abilities in the WWE ring, but also the power to save his family.
2020 was a mixed bag, but when this movie was released, I was so delighted. I sprawled on the floor, I called my buddies, and I watched wish fulfillment happen to some kid who became a WWE superstar.
Ew! The match just started. How are you so sweaty?
Don't ask questions you don't want answers to.
So right off the bat, we have two things established. Number one, this is a movie, it's very G-rated, made for kids. It's not a bad thing. Like I said, WWE has ability to make movies for all types of audiences. But number two, the plot is very similar to some stuff that you and I grew up with. Rookie of the Year, like Mike.
A little sprinkle of Wish Kid in there. Remember Wish Kid? Macaulay Culkin, Wish Kid with the glove. Yo, you remember Wish Kid? Put in the comments below. You remember Wish Kid, right?
I believe you. I just haven't heard of it.
I remember yesterday.
Well, my teacher got a real super kick. I didn't be doing all that extra credit.
Well, there's no way you're gonna powerbomb your next big test.
Yeah.
So this movie really does take place in the WWE universe, but my question for you is, was it overwhelming? I mean, there were points that it felt like the commercials that you would see during, Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or something.
I don't know. There's guys like The Miz and Kofi Kingston, I totally understand, but mostly everyone else had different names, so I kind of felt like this alternate universe enough for me to feel all right with it.
They call me Smooth Operator, but you can call me Smooth. So I'm smooth in the ring, and I got this silky smooth voice.
Sweet. I'm Kid Chaos.
I like it. Nice to meet.
The highlight for me was the role that Keith Lee played. I mean, this is a guy that I didn't quite first understand when he debuted in NXT, but as soon as you give him a mic, he really is a smooth operator, no pun intended, but just with the character that he played, the singing, the chemistry he had with Leo, a little bit of the autobiographical stories about him trying to get into NXT, into the main roster.
I even had a couple tryouts with WWE. I didn't get signed. So this time, I've got to win and make them sign me.
I love that commitment.
Thanks.
Some things that really hit home for me was the family dynamic. You had a dad, a mom that was absent, and his grandma, played by Tisha Arnold, which is trippy. That Pam from Martin is now grandma. Like, how old am I, bro?
Oh, look, Dad. It's the best part.
Oh, yeah, this is where Big E makes his pecs bounce. Up and down, up and down. Oh, my God, it drives me wild. Go, Big E! Woo! Yes!
For the record, we have different opinions on what the best part is.
The movie is enjoyable, even as an adult, like if you're a wrestling fan, and I think both of us kind of wish there was a movie like this when we were kids.
Despite the fact the main event does share some plot threads with Fighting with My Family, it does serve two different demographics, which means you can show a young kid this film, and once they get old enough, show them the other one.
And we end things with probably the best made movie about the wrestling industry, aptly titled The Wrestler. This is a tale of a wrestler way past his prime.
It's okay, Ram. Take it home.
Something that the non-fan may not know is that a lot of these folks, once they're past their prime, they're not exactly living glamorous lives. They don't have any skills to fall back on.
Here's your bologna, pal.
So they're taking these small independent bookings.
Here you go. Sorry, I was sure the gate'd be bigger. But don't forget, 2 months. Raw way, legend signing. I need you, man.
When the movie was released, I didn't actually like it at first. I thought it was kind of exploitive to the wrestling industry, the wrestling job, profession. But upon further viewing a little bit later on, I realized this happens to a lot of people. And so, yeah, that feeling of seeing a live crowd or having people chant your name and have that evaporate is sadly a tale as old as time.
Hey, you hear them? This is where I belong. I gotta go.
It's a completely behind-the-scenes look at what goes on as far as the planning of matches.
Maybe make your comeback right off there.
Bang off the ropes, then super kick and ram jam, and we go have a beer. Okay.
It sounds great, man.
Hey, you hang in there. You got a lot of ability.
All right.
The hiding the razor blades in your tape to cut yourself, and really some of the brutality involved in some of these shows that I don't think that either one of us are really fans of. I mean, we want this to be competition, we want it to be athletic, but we really don't want these people to be putting themselves in the danger that you see in some of these matches.
Yeah, the gore is a bit too much, if you want to say it as much, but I would say wrestlers do sacrifice their body night in, night out. It was important to show things at an extreme level for dramatic effect.
Crazy. Hey, you okay with that table hit?
I'll live, sir. I'll live.
In a sport that's very character-based with gimmicks or what have you, it's very rare to see a film actually take this sport and have a character study about it.
I went back in, Fan Fest. Just tell them it's back on. Hey, man, I don't give a shit. I just want to wrestle. That's right. Okay.
I was really moved by the vulnerability shown in this character who, on stage or with the red light on, is impervious to pain, a hero to everyone, but behind the scenes...
Yeah, but the doctor said...
I know what I'm doing. You know, the only place I get hurt is out there. The world don't give a shit about me.
It's really a sad tale that we hear very often when we look at behind the scenes interviews and podcasts and such. So
wrestling fans are very protective about their sport, and a lot of times when there's exposés about the industry, we kind of shut them down. And so the fact that the majority of wrestling fans embrace this film just shows you how important it is for the community. And actually, I want to say that if you haven't seen any of the movies on this list, start with The Wrestler first because of how impactful it is.
Thank you so much for watching, and please do leave a comment below. I did want to give a shout out to Flobo with all the projects you're working on. What's Up Flobo, Flobo Solid on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody a little where they can find your other stuff?
Yeah, if you want to see me talk about random things about comedy and movies and restaurant stuff, hit up newamsterdam.com. That's K-N-E-W, Amsterdam.com. See all the shows lined up. Let me know what you think.
And the next time we get together, we're going to talk about a few select works of director John Singleton. I hope you check it out. Have a great day. Wrestling movies about wrestling.
I like it. He was so happy. Like, wrestling was about wrestling. Cool.
Yeah.
Damn it, I suck. Or character is, but very rare we see a character study in the profession.
Sorry.
I came back.
What
I said, well, he knows the worst movies out there, but I enjoyed it. Remember?
Okay.
But I can do it again, man. Good.
And our third guest, the Sirens.
It's like the Sirens, like the rammings outside of Charlie Blaucock.
It's like people think I live in a dangerous area.
They
No,
kinda do.
it's more of an annoying area.
It is an awkward corner to come on the freeway for. It is.
Yeah, yesterday we had homeless people like yelling at people getting off the freeway, throwing apples at them.
Hey, drive like your kids live here. Oh wow.